a great weekend. And thank you so much for joining this session today.
I've given you a host right now. You can share your screen and you are on present your
Yes,
board.
I would like to share my screen and then I can introduce myself also.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Just tell me if everyone can see the screen.
Yes, Usman, we can see your screen.
Okay. Mm, Okay, so we'll discuss the Salesforce files, how files objects work behind the scene whenever we upload a file into the Salesforce ecosystem. Let me introduce myself. I'm Usman Ali. I have experience more than 10 years of experience in Salesforce development. I'm also a group leader in Salesforce developer group Dubai. I'm also an also leader on the Trailhead community to help other people on the their question, whatever they have. So our agenda today is about what are the content objects, what happens when you upload a file into Salesforce, how to share a file outside of the Salesforce with external user who are not part of our Salesforce ecosystem. So let me start from here. Okay. So this is the basic object structure. I just wrap up the basic and the major objects which are relevant to content Salesforce files. The parent of all is content document object. So whenever you upload a file, it goes to the content document as a parent, but the actual binary file, the actual body of the file, it stores in content version, which is child of the content document. So you could see I put the content document object as a primary object, as a parent in the middle, and the content version, which holds your uh, binary file, title, what is the extension, what is the path, etc. But the content object, it holds the properties of your file, like who created it, who modified, who is the owner, and what is the latest published version. Then the content document link. This is the object which holds the information about the users and the records who have access to a particular file. This object content document link is a junction object between any standard or custom object, related record, I put as a related record, and content object. So that is a junction where it holds the parent record or user ID as linked entity ID here, and content document ID, what is the parent file ID, record ID for that to create the content document link. Then this content distribution represents the sharing and the distribution of the content of the file whenever you share a file externally outside of the Salesforce through generating public links. So anybody can click on the public link and they can access the file. This content distribution view is also child of the content distribution. Content distribution is direct child of the content document. So, so content document is parent of all, you could say. So content distribution, which is grandchild of this content document, content distribution is the direct child. Content distribution view holds the information about the access log. Whenever somebody clicks on the public link and download a file, then one record will be created in content distribution view. Whenever someone access that file and download it, then this is download becomes true. In the next slide, these are the core content object. Just for your reference purpose, I removed all of the other objects. These are the core objects relevant to Salesforce file. So please keep a note about the latest published version ID. I will tell you the story later. What is that? Latest published version ID, and then is latest Boolean. So this is just for the illustration purpose. Whenever just to show how it look like in the Salesforce within Salesforce those files. This below bottom of the page, it is the query editor where I just put the query how we can query the record from the content document link. So whenever you have to query a file using a record ID or the user ID, you always need to refer content document link, which is the junction object between your any customer standard object and the content document. The limitation of this content document link is that you cannot query all the records in one query. You always need to pass linked entity ID as a record ID or user ID or the content document parent ID, parent file ID. If I go to the previous screen, let's say if you want to query or something on the content document link, either you need to specify this related record ID or you need to specify content document ID. So there is a limitation by the Salesforce. You cannot query all the records in one go. I'm going fast. You can tell me, or if you have any question so far, I can answer. So this is the screen. Next slide about whenever you upload a file, how to upload a file that you know, you may know how we can upload a file into Salesforce. But once you upload a file into the Salesforce, Salesforce does something. What is that? First of all, notice a URL. Whenever you upload a file, there are some objects records are being created by Salesforce automatically. One is content document, second content document link, content document history, content version history. These records are always created by the Salesforce automatically. For the content document link, Salesforce automatically create two records whenever you upload a file under any record into the Salesforce. Content document link holds two records. One is linked to the current user who is owner of the file and who is uploading the file. Second one, get cloudy, which is the account record, where any record where you upload a file. If I go to the next slide, so here I am using the same query again to query the content document link records. Now you could see we have two records in the query editor. First one, the owner of the file, the current user, which has infrared access, which means based on your profile setting, Salesforce automatically provide this access. And the next one, the viewer, which is the get cloud is your account, and it has share type as V, which means only record can view this file because records are not human. So they cannot take any action like edit file, delete it, or upload new versions. That's why Salesforce automatically provides viewer share type for those records. In this slide, we will see what will happen when you share a file internally within Salesforce users. So to share a file, you need to click on the share button, then select the user and select the share type. It is a collaborative, owner, viewer, whatsoever. And then you can pause the comment and you need to click on the first five steps. In this screenshot, I'm trying to share this file with Mary Jones to see what will happen to the content document link. So whenever you share a file, it will create again junction object record. Nothing will happen to the content version or content document record itself. It will create a new record in the content document link, which is junction between your parent record object and your parent uh, content document the record, which is your file record. So now I shared a file with Mary Jones. Now Mary Jones has collaborative access, which we uh, selected in the previous slide. This indicates that the shared file can be viewed, edited, and shared with other users by the recipient, by the Mary Jones. They have full collaboration privileges if they have collaborative access. So I used the same query on the content document link where I just passed the content document ID instead of linked entity ID. In the previous slides, I was passing linked entity ID. So why I put content document ID here? Because once you pass linked entity ID, you will get only one record. Linked entity ID means you need to pass either Usman user ID or account ID from the get cloud record or Mary Jones user ID. But I want to see how many content document links records under one file. Then I need to query based on the content document ID based on the parent object of the content document link. So in this slide, I'm displaying how what will happen once you upload a new version of the same file. Let's say I uploaded a user manual earlier. Now I want to upload a new version of this file by stating that one new page is added in PDF. So what will happen? Anybody knows? Let me tell you. Once you upload a new version of the same file by using this upload new version feature, then Salesforce creates a new content version record. Content version object is child of content document. Document is a grandparent for all. So whenever you upload a content version, new version of the file, it now you see it created a new record and something happens to its latest field, which means this is the latest version of the file. There is another field which I displayed in my previous slide, published version ID here, latest published version ID. So whenever you upload a new version of the file, content version record will be created and this is latest will becomes true. And this latest published version ID will have a reference of this content version ID using this ID, same as lookup. Let's go to the next one. So this is something to learn about the content distribution. We learned about the content document, content version, and content document link so far. These slides about content distribution. Let's say you have a user who needs this file and that person is not part of your Salesforce org. So how you can share that file from Salesforce directly instead of sending him through an email or through WhatsApp or by downloading it. So what you need to do, there is a query I'm just making from the content distribution. Here I'm using content document ID, same, the parent object, grandparent record ID to query the content distribution records. You could see there is no record, no data exported here. This is a query editor screenshot. Don't be confused. So let's say now I'm sharing this file. So you need to click on the share, then create a public link. You need to click on the create link button. Then Salesforce automatically generates a link for you. This link is the content distribution record basically. So if I use the same query again, above query, you could see the one record is created and the distribution public URL is the same URL which was displayed by the Salesforce in this screen. On the next slide, this is content distribution view, which is grandchild of content document object. It is child of content distribution. Therefore, you need to use distribution ID instead of content document ID to filter the records, to query the records. So here the screenshot from the content distribution view where you could see is download is false. In the middle screenshot, I'm downloading it. I downloaded it, let's say, and then I queried it again. Then now is downloaded become true. That's about that's it all about Salesforce file, how files works behind the scene, how objects are being managed by Salesforce itself. If you have any question, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Usman. Thank you for the informative session. Uh, if someone has any question, please write in the chat box. Thanks.
So one more thing I can see, Ms. Wauliman has joined from also. He is also a technical architect and group leader in Salesforce Developers Dubai Group. I think we can collaborate more. We can share our knowledge with each other. Thank you so much, Ms. for joining this session.
Thank you, Ms. Bal Iman, joining for this session. We are glad to have you here. Thank you. So, Usman, you can stop sharing your screen, and we have a question from Brother Abbas. So, please answer the
Okay.
questions. Yeah. So, Usman, can you see the chat box?
Oh, sorry. Sure. I can.
Okay, thanks. क्या सवाल है? So Usman, unmute yourself and can answer these questions. You don't.
Okay, that is fine. Everybody is reading the chat. Attachment is a legacy object basically where you cannot generate public links, you cannot track anything about the history, you cannot upload a new version of a file into the attachment. And whoever has access to the parent record or the parent record of the attachment, those users can access the file only. But in the concept of Salesforce files, it can be you can generate the public links. It can be accessed by the multiple user group of users at a time. Yes, we can convert attachments into the file. This was the answer I provided for the above question where somebody asked about the mass upload in Salesforce. For the mass upload, you need to upload attachments as attachment, those files. Then you can convert those attachment into the content of documents and delete your attachment. This is something we did already in the past. We had to migrate attachment from one Salesforce org to the another one, and we need to create files instead of attachment. And the volume was about 90 GB from one Salesforce org to another one. So we did the same. Richa, if you can enable mic for everyone, then it would be more informative session for everyone. Anybody, everyone can easily ask question and we can answer because there are only few people who join, so it will be easier and more collaborative.
So Usman, will you answer the question from Alize? Can we convert attachments into files?
Yes, I already provided the answer.
Okay.
Yes, we can convert.
You are on mute, Usman.
Oh, sorry, somebody. Okay, yes, we can convert attachments into the file, and there is one setting which we can enable in Salesforce also from setup. Let's say if you want to convert automatically attachments into Salesforce files, we can enable one setting from setup, and there is a checkbox in the setup attachment setting. Whenever you upload attachment, it Salesforce automatically converts that attachment into content objects instead of attachment. Salesforce will display that file into attachment related also and in files related list also because both are different related lists from different objects. That is Salesforce part which Salesforce is handling itself.
Great. So I think we have covered all the questions, and now we have reached to the end of the session. So thank you, Usman, for. Okay, so there's a question from Danish.
Okay.
If attachments are loading while data editor with setting enabled and converting into files, does it make impact on storage?
Danish, at the end, Salesforce will create the content version, content document record instead of attachment. I don't think so there is an impact on it because Salesforce is automatically controlling. If your setting is disabled, the files will go to attachment object. If enabled, then it will go to the content of yours.
So, if anyone has any question, please write in the chat box. We
This,
still have 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes for the
yeah,
QA
we have 10
session.
minutes still. Feel free to ask anything about attachment of Salesforce file.
Yeah,
If you need, then we can reschedule another events to learn how we can manipulate Salesforce content objects within Apex. How we can use uh, content objects in Apex. So today I just show you the functional part using the query editor or developer console, you will say. And the next time, like if you want to write a trigger on the content file, and then which object, content object is the best object to write the trigger. There are some content object Salesforce doesn't allow to create triggers for them. So if you would like to have another session on the Apex, we could do that. Uh,
sure, Usman, why not?
And you are also can join the Dubai Salesforce developer group session if you if you want. Uh,
Sure, Usman, you can share the link of the Dubai group. So,
yes, I
that,
can do that. I can do that. So we can have a mutual events together, like both groups can have together. We are doing the same in Dubai. We have one group architect group in Dubai, and our is a developer group. Sometimes we had the joint session, in-person joint session, with all of the architects and developer. And same thing we can do across the globe, whether in Pakistan and Dubai. Why not? I would love to.
right. Nice. So, I think now we have covered all the questions. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. And I hope you found the session informative and valuable. And if you have any further feedback, suggestion, or any question, please let us know. And I will share the recording. I will share the presentation on my YouTube channel and on the LinkedIn also. So um, you can watch the recording if you missed anything. So thank you. A big thanks to the Usman for joining us.
You're most welcome.
We can have more sessions for the Apex and for the joint sessions with the Dubai group. So yeah,
Thank you so much for having me there.
yeah.
It was a
Thank you.
great opportunity to share my knowledge, my little bit knowledge with all of you. So we'll carry on in 10 years.
So yeah. Uh,
So Misbah just pasted the chat in the chat the link of the developer group of the Dubai, and everybody can join it. Or most welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Usman, for sharing the link. You guys can use this link to join the Dubai developer group.
So he has
So we have an event in July. Fatma Hussain and Amar Prakash will be presenting on the user group. Also, if someone wants to volunteer as a speaker, please let me know. And yeah, stay connected.
have a great weekend, everyone.
Yeah.
Stay blessed.
Thank you once again for joining us. And
You're
until we
welcome.
meet again, have a fantastic day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely we'll meet again. Bye bye.
Bye bye.